When I first ran, I ran this like a lot of you. I didn't write anything down. Everything I needed was in my head. Last week, I ran this adventure. It takes about the same amount of time. It's not much better or worse, but I had 1,000 words of notes. I have friends who spent a year prepping for an adventure without ever running it. Today, we're going to answer one big question. What should we prep? I used to prep nothing or very little. I started running before I could write fast enough for it to be useful. I can still do that if I don't care about continuity, about the flow of the game, about the story. A session like that might just look like a map, like something a fight can take place in, some enemies to put in there, a mysterious voice telling the enemies what to do. That's a session. I can run it right now, and believe you me, you little Tevatotts out there, you would really enjoy it. The session I ran last week was like this. I just used Kunst and Linsderry because I already knew them. Often running feels like this huge thing I have to do these days. Pages of notes, combats prepped, tests written down. I used to just wing that stuff, but now when I do, it's not as good as when I prep. Take a look at combat. I can wing it, but it won't be as balanced as if I spend time prepping it. It won't be as fun. If I don't have a map prepared, if I don't think about it in advance, the map just ends up being a flat plane, at best some walls, maybe a table. That's not good enough for Draw Steel. Compare that to the map from last week. Snowdrifts, frozen ponds, height differentiation, trees, places to hide. That was an hour's work. It didn't need to be so pretty. I put extra effort in for the video, but still, just for a map? I want to go back to a world where I could just have a cool idea, execute on it, and run it. It didn't need to take so long. The strange bit is, it's less fun when I do this. The game feels so important. My players worry about doing the wrong thing, about breaking the prep. They're worried that if they do the wrong thing, I'm going to stop the session early because of it. That makes them try to do what they're meant to do. And then why don't we just watch a movie or something? If we know how it's going to end, why not just chill and have fun? I want my players to surprise me. I had a comment last week from a Tevatot who told me, if your player says they want their character to spend time creating some epic magic sword, you would be negligent and begging for trouble if you're not prepared. Yeah, but doesn't that feel like something I should be able to react to on the fly? A player telling me some cool thing they want to make shouldn't be something I have to spend an hour prepping for. I feel like I should just be able to do that, you know? What makes me prep is the knowledge that I don't want to start doing this during the session. The other reason is continuity. I forget NPC names. I forget the villain's plans. I forget what happened last week if I don't have that reminder. There is another reason. I do more cool stuff when I prep. It's that simple. Instead of having 15 seconds to come up with an NPC, I have 15 minutes. I can spend my time polishing and shining my precious. Take last week's session. I only come up with the road scene in the last 2 hours before the session. I spent an hour making the road map, and then I added the combat in. I took some of the encounters I already had prepared and made something way better. It was a great addition. So that's good, right? But there's a problem, like a spectre looming over me. The more I prep, the more effort goes into managing those notes in the session. That's fine when it's a session like last week, only 2 notes. But in some of my games, I'm 50 sessions in. It can take me a while to even find an answer to a simple question. Look at this. I'm running this in Draw Steel in the future, and I have to make notes? This should be the perfect notes. It has the entire adventure in here, but it's too much information, you know? I can't keep track of it all. So prepping everything doesn't work, and improvising everything doesn't work. Does that mean I might have to be nuanced? I was watching a video a few months ago about a game called League of Legends. I don't know if you've heard of it. And the guy I was watching said something like this. When we are doing a hard thing, we are often aware of a lot of things we could be doing, but we can't do all of them. We have a stack of things we can carry. 1 is pretty easy, 2 is okay, 3 you can do it, but the 4th one, you just drop one of the other things. Bingo. To put this in a Draw Steel sense, when you're running a combat, I mean managing the rules. When you first did it, it probably took all 3 of those plates in your head to keep them spinning, you know? The first time I ran Draw Steel, it was more than that. I was doing so much wrong. But now, after a year, I can comfortably say it's taking up 1, maybe 2, if that, plates. That's what I've been struggling with. This idea from League of Legends is exactly the problem I've been facing. And here's a solution. Put a post-it note on your screen reminding you of the thing you're focusing on. And forget the rest. They use prep. Is prep the solution? What we do as DMs when we prep is we take a post-it note from our heads and we write it down somewhere else. But we think as DMs that this is learning how to do something. No, you're now reliant on the sticky note. When you want to learn another thing, you add it to the pile, and then you add another, and then you add another, and another, and another, until all that's left is just a pile of sticky notes. And the usefulness of these sticky notes, They're not useful anymore, and they're just a pile of sticky notes. But there is a key to the final bit that we miss as DMs. Muscle memory. Well, not quite when you're a DM, but you know. Think of the game you feel most comfortable running. And God's helped me, it's D&D 5th edition, 2014, Forever edition. When I run that, I don't have to look up how a goblin works, really. I can wing it. It's like about 7 HP. You're going to roll a d20 and add 4. You're going to do about 1d6 plus 2 damage. They're MCDM ones, they're crafty, they won't provoke opportunity attacks. I know that that's not a goblin stat block, but like, it's enough for me to know what I'm throwing at my players. At level 1 to 3, I can just wing it. Nothing a player does is really new to me. I've seen most of it before. Well, that's how it felt when I stopped running D&D. That meant I could take my time focusing on bigger things than just the game. I could run really cool villains. I could create new plots, new stories. I had slowly built up the skill to just run on the fly. I'd still prep things, but I didn't have to prep everything, every minute detail, because I built up those skills to make it up on the fly. Instead of putting all of my energy into the post-it notes on my screen and then trying to read them all on the fly, but a lot of things, once you've done them enough, stop being big plates. Remembering how flanking works in Draw Steel the first time I learned it took a lot. For the next few sessions, I was thinking about that a lot. Now it's just second nature. As you focus on things, they get easier. And then you can transition them out of your notes. You don't have to write down every line of dialogue because you just know it. You can feel it in your bones. At first, it might seem difficult. Half of the combats are going to sound like, sword, goblin, head, floor. And then it's going to get better if you do it more. But if you just learn to write sticky notes, you're not learning to talk in combat. You're learning to write dialogue. Now, don't get me wrong, writing sticky notes is important. It's a useful skill. It has value. But a lot of the time, you need to be able to come up with stuff on the fly for it to be really in the game. Your players aren't reading your book, they're playing your game. So you need to focus on the performance side of it, not just the writing. Let's go back to that Tevatot example. I could prep how crafting works beforehand, but that would be silly. I can come up with it on the fly. Maybe not the first time, but now that I've done it a few times, I can run downtime on the fly. I don't have to prep it, as long as I have enough of a town as an example. The takeaway I want you to have is this. Prepping more is not making you a better director, it's making you a better writer. Writing is important. You didn't click on this video because you want to be a better writer. There's plenty of videos out there for you. You clicked on this because you want to be a better director, a better GM. The question I answered in this video was, what should I prep? Not how much should I prep, what can I prep? You can prep anything you want to. There's no limits. The purpose of prep is to be a support to play, not the thing holding it up. You need to work on the underlying skills as a director as well. You can't use your prep as a crutch, because eventually you'll start prepping more and more and more until you never run. Next time you're asking yourself, what should I prep? Prep what you absolutely need. That's going to feel like combat, but that's not true. You can draw lines at the start of combat. You can put stat blocks on the map. You might kill the party might kill them easily, but you can do it. And if you do it a lot, it will get easier, even in a game like Draw Steel. I reckon if I didn't prep combat for the next year, I could probably make some pretty good combats on the fly by the end of it. Maybe not as good combats as if I'd spent the year learning how to design combat with a lot of time, but maybe I'd have run more. Maybe I'd actually be better anyway. Think about what you can have in your mental stack without worrying, without it stressing you out. For me, that's running monsters. I don't have to think about how to be tactically. I can do that. I played XCOM for years. I can normally figure out what the villain's going to do to react to the player's plans, how their plans are going to change because of it. I can normally come up with throwaway NPCs on the fly. The market stall owner, the postman, the ship captain. How the rules work, I can do pretty easily. Now think about what you want to get better at this session. For me, that's the villains talking more in combat, the level design, the descriptions of the world, giving the players more space to talk, avoiding DM re-narration. Finally, pick one, just one, of the things you want to work on and focus on it in that session. Write your prep to support you to do that thing and trust your skills to the other one. You're a better director than you think you are. Now your notes are a support, not a weight holding you down. If you enjoyed the video, can you give it a like? It will help the algorithm know that you like this kind of content and show you more of it. The other thing you can do for me is on your screen now, you should see a video that YouTube thinks you'd like. And on the other side of your screen, you should see a video about the session I ran last week. Until next time, little Tevatots.